This is where my study of mediums begins to kind of merge with conceptual ideas. How do I explain it? Kind of merging technology and how we see images in the present day, because we don't see them the way that the old masters used to, or even like Delacroix or someone before video, before Instagram, before YouTube. There's like a really big visual generational change. What is it about modern imagery that's so captivating for us? Because the way that we see something now is not the way that old masters see it. With time, I know that people talk trash about algorithms and TikTok and YouTube and Instagram, but there's a reason why certain images, why certain stories, why certain videos go viral. There is an element of beauty and visual aliveness and perfection in those images. And I'm sure that if there was a painter, one of the masters, if they just teleported here in time, Velasquez was just here among us, I'm sure that he would just be captivated by the image. So this was, even though this is painted from, I can't remember, either an Instagram video or YouTube stills, this is not my original image, but it's part of my portfolio research about conservation, about landscape, about people within modern landscape, and about merging technology and how we visualize present day. Like, what is it about images nowadays that's just so alluring that we didn't have in the past? But to be honest, I don't need the original. It's already framed and kind of matted, so this helped me in my conceptual kind of visualization journey. But this can go into a sell pile. Basically, if you're willing to sit for me for like 30 minutes, I will draw you. So this is one of my coworkers. I will draw anyone that I know that's willing to sit for the portrait. Again, similar to this drawing is so small, so tiny, but it's really important. This is one of my own images that I was kind of imagining from memory. It's very hard to imagine a memory, but changing the viewpoint within the image. Like if I'm laying here, it's very hard to imagine what it would look like as an observer. And this may be like a tiny little sketch, but if I were to price it, this would be a pretty high priced item for what it appears to be at first glance. But conceptually, this was spot on to what I'm talking about in my work. And sometimes when you look at an artist's sketchbook and you see this kind of thing that you can't really tell what it is, you need the artist to actually guide you through what the image is. It's very hard to kind of know what's going on. And what's happening in this image is basically it's like a truck. And it's so strange. Sometimes you go to these kind of rural areas and you see brands like Fanta, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, but they're like plastered on odd objects, like a truck. It's a Coca-Cola truck. It's totally handmade. It's just painted. It has nothing to do with the company. It's not even delivering the soda. It just is a red Coca-Cola truck. And I remember at some point being driven somewhere very early in the morning and kind of sleeping in the back of this strange Coca-Cola truck in Honduras, and just being kind of asleep in the back of this truck, just riding through the mountains and through the jungle. And there I was really thinking about nature and landscape, but also having this kind of odd logo, which is also a beautiful logo, and kind of what it stands for. And this is kind of a reoccurring life theme in my work. Do we preserve the natural landscape? Of course we should. But also, can we say no to these things that are man-made, that are actually making our lives better? I'm not going into this. This is like too close to artist statement at the moment, and I will rant about this one drawing for like 45 minutes. But yeah, sometimes in an artist portfolio, you will have really important pieces. They may be tiny doodles, they may be small, they may be kind of indistinguishable what is even going on. But when it comes to the artist's progression, their series, their thinking, their ideas, kind of their life diary, these images are really important. So if I were to sell this tiny little doodle, it would be sold for a lot, because it's really a pivotal moment in my work. I made an oil painting. This tiny little painting that I made from this sketch was picked up like instantly by a collector. So I will not say what collection that painting is in. But all I'm gonna say is that sale was one of the best collector buys that I've had in my artist studio. Okay, next one. Next one before I start tearing up. So this stays. This will not go on sale. This was painted while on a boat in the Amazon rainforest, and it was painted with Amazon water. It was just probably like 5 a.m. one of those early excursions. Yeah, it's a nice little landscape, but I think its value is in the material and as part of the residency, part of the research. So this is gonna go into sale pile. This is painted on a Metro card. If you live in New York, we have these Metro cards to swipe into the train. And there was a show where artists did all kinds of paintings on Metro cards. And this was one of the only ones that didn't sell out of the, I believe, 10 that I did. And maybe I'll include some pictures of the other ones. This is just a bar in Brooklyn. And I just thought the green was just so cool how it was glowing. So this is gonna go to a sell pile as well. Okay, we gotta speed through it. Otherwise this video is gonna be like 2 hours long. Model, drawn in marker, Art Students League, keep pile. Eyes, doodle, no need to be taking up space. I can let that go. This is a drawing of my grandmother, so stays for family purposes. Another one of my grandma. Let's see what this is. So it's a piece of paper. Okay, that's getting trashed. This is just another doodle from life. When I was in the rainforest, they had like giant grasshoppers. They were just giant. But it's a tiny sketch, and I actually have a better drawing somewhere else, so this can go as well. Okay, bats. We have bats, drawings from life of bats. I don't know, should I keep this? You know what, I had another part to it. So, yeah, so these bats were just sleeping, like hanging from a ceiling in the rainforest. I'll keep it because it was part of my residency. What is this? These are like super quick drawings of spider monkeys as they were going through the forest. Like, why do I make life so difficult for myself? Like, try to draw a moving object that's like running around, just swinging from branch to branch. Like, why do I do these things to myself? At some point as an artist, like, yeah, you want to draw it, but you just have to make a choice. It's better just to observe what's happening than to try to draw it, because what is even this? I'll keep it, but this was just more for fun. These are red ants in the jungle, so I think this may have to go. Like, why is this even here? Yeah, this gets thrown out. This is a fence, childhood fence of where I grew up. Yeah, this can go too. This was one of my students when I was teaching watercolor and drawing to children. There's another one somewhere. So this is one of my students. Let's see what this is. This is another study for a painting. And again, I was trying to research how photography and how present day video, like, why is it so beautiful to us? This one here specifically, and I'll include the finished painting. I was thinking about, what is it about this image? It looks like a master oil painter's composition, but it was just filmed that way. It's just beautiful. And this was one of my professors during a lecture. You know, you gotta do whatever you gotta do to stay awake during 3-hour-long theory lectures. So that's thing. Sometimes things that aren't art make it into my portfolios. So these are business cards and leaves. And these are, oh my god, I can't believe these are in here. I haven't opened this in like forever. This folder has just been in my closet. But these are Morpho butterfly wings. These here, the blue ones. Beautiful giant blue butterflies that are so iridescent. And they're like impossible to photograph. Yeah, so this was just kind of what I collected when I was in the Amazon rainforest. And I think I gotta just get these framed and keep them because they're just so beautiful, and they're probably just gonna get overlooked in this folder. So I think these two we will put in to be framed for my self pile. This is the other students. They were sisters and I was teaching them watercolor and drawing. Another coworker that posed for me. This is just a study of a light trap where they basically light a sheet with a lot of light at night, and then you get all kinds of bugs and all kinds of animals that kind of go to a light trap. So this is kind of part of conservation research, and I did do a painting on this, but it was kind of weak, so this goes. This series of paintings are so fun. I painted these at New York Botanical Garden in the Bronx, and these were just kind of color studies. Because a lot of times when you're learning a medium, especially if you're taking a class, it's just the class is so rigid. And if you're learning traditional painting, whether it's oil or watercolor, and so there's such a kind of like fine line balance of you want to make something look real and lifelike, so you don't want to make it too colorful, but then it becomes this sepia brown kind of mess that doesn't have any color saturation. So this kind of series of paintings are just about me trying to unlearn the muted colors of realistic painting class. These are cactuses, more cactuses, and these I think will go in the cell pile. This was the same thing, but this was painted on a boat at 4 a.m. and yeah, this goes to cell as well. And I had a special notebook. This is why they're all kind of the same size, where I was doing these exercises, where I was not using brown and gray and all these muted colors. I was just kind of absorbing the colors, the saturation of landscapes. And this is painted in Honduras, in the mountains. In some places you just have a lot of mountains. Everywhere you go there are just mountains all over. And there's little cattle and trees and whatever, but it's just beautiful color harmony.